Welcome, Madridistas. How are you all doing? Let's go over the latest news from Real Madrid, which is about the squad list for tomorrow's match against Fiorentina. Not everything is going to be transfer rumors in the market because up until now, at 10:34 Spanish time, nothing new has happened, and we're still waiting for the Diomande deal and then Rodriguez to finally materialize so they can become Real Madrid players. I'm not really worried about those signings falling through, not at all. And then there's also the matter of departures, and we'll see because I think everything depends on that. How is Real Madrid going to manage to sell mainly Camavinga? And then keep a close eye on what might happen with Vinicius. Because after those reports we got the other day from England that Arsenal had dropped their interest in Vinicius, thinking that Madrid was going to renew his contract and so on. It seems like there is some movement, as we mentioned in the previous video, but since there's nothing new, we won't say anything about that. Let's move on to tomorrow's topic. That first match, Real Madrid already in good shape against the Italian team Fiorentina, and there are some absences in the squad list. Shall we go ahead and read them out? Sergio Mestre, Javi Navarro. Do you remember Javi Navarro? This kid surprised us all because we saw a potential future there. You must be careful with goalkeepers since very few become Real Madrid's goalkeeper. There's only one. And well, that's very difficult, but I don't know. I still see something very, very interesting in this kid. Franco Gonzalez, by the way, they're trying to find him a move for a goalkeeper that I actually like, honestly, quite a lot. This guy already needs to play matches. He needs to get minutes. We can't keep him there forever. And maybe, hey, well, something can be done with him like they're doing with other kids from the academy so he can be brought back in the future. But, well, there are a lot of goalkeepers and only one can stay, especially in a situation like this where we're still looking, it's not urgent yet, for Courtois' replacement. Dan Fristren, Carreras, Lamine, and Fati. When we talk about the center backs, since in theory they're looking for another center back for Madrid, they talk about Bastoni more insistently than about others. Asensio's situation has changed because we thought he was almost certainly going to leave, but the injury complicates everything. Hey, we've talked about Diego Aguero, who isn't on this squad list, by the way. And look, there's also John Martinez, Lamine, and Fati. I mean, there are people there. There are kids from the academy who that already makes four center backs. It's Rudiger, Militao, Hausen, and Ate. Five with Asensio. Let's see if Madrid manages to move him on. It's complicated because of what I said about the injury. And you still want one more. Of course, we've had a pretty bad experience with center backs in recent seasons, but you can't trust that fifth center back spot to just anyone. De central, and a youth academy kid like Lamine Fati or John Martinez. It's another thing if they want to loan them out or sell 50% of their rights so they can grow up, but I don't know. I don't think there's that much urgency there. Although if Mourinho wants Bastoni at all costs, well, he wants him. They're really listening to the coach about Diego Aguero. The fact that he's not here because there hasn't been any reported injury, as far as I know, maybe it's actually because they're looking to transfer him, departure, because they really want him to start playing now. And at Madrid, well, he wasn't going to do that. We'll see. Forte Fortea, Mario Rivas, Aymar Garcia, that's in defense. Midfield, Camavinga, Valverde, Arda Güler, Güler, Chestero, Lacosta, Alexis, Syria. And as forwards, Hendrik, Carlos Espí. Now we see images of him and also a recent Real Madrid update video about today's training. Yanez, who was the scorer of the only goal in that match against Alcorcon, which was the first, and Jacobo. Let's see. Hausen, apparently he has trained inside the facilities. He must have some discomfort, but nothing has been reported. Rudiger just arrived. Mind you, but Hendrik also just arrived, and yet Hendrik is included or is on the roster, and Rudiger is not. With Rudiger, with the German, well, they're taking it slow. We all know why. Mastantuono is not here anymore. Mastantuono. They want to loan out Mastantuono as soon as possible, like Zidane once said about Bale. Do you remember? And I think that's why he's not included. But of course, since we're also thinking that they want to sell Camavinga and maybe Hendrik will leave this summer too, well, they might not go either. It would give away too many clues, I think, right? So, and besides, what they need to do is play. So it's fine. They're on this list. Tomorrow after the match, we'll make a video. And that's it. This is the latest update video that Real Madrid TV has made in the last few hours to tell us what happened today in that training session. The first one for Carlos Espi with Real Madrid, and the kid, well, he couldn't contain his joy.
10 in the morning, the 5th session of the week, or in other words, the 22nd training session since the preseason started. Today, with Carlos Espi as the main new addition, as we mentioned earlier, we've seen him pass the medical checkup and also complete the session at the same pace as his teammates. All of this on a day when, after the warm-up and physical exercises, both in the gym and here on the pitch, there was a very important tactical segment. The small-sided games and the usual great goals from the edge of the box. Also, you should know that Dean Housen has been training inside the facilities, while Raul Asensio, Rodrigo Goes, Fernan Mendy, and also Eder Militao are making progress in their recovery processes. A group of youth academy players have also trained, and all of this before we travel to Austria tomorrow. Tomorrow we're traveling. Tomorrow Real Madrid is traveling because we have the first friendly match. For the preseason at 9:30, the Real Madrid flight will depart for Austria. And the best part is that this match against Fiorentina will be live and exclusive. We'll be waiting for you here, Madridistas, tomorrow. We'll see it right here on this channel.
Well, we'll be watching on Real Madrid television, and then we'll make a video, as I said. Now, take a look at this Carlos Espi situation because, well, you know, hey, didn't you sign Diomande for 20 million last year? Bad move since Madrid wasn't watching. Now you have to sign him this year for over 100, right? We'll see how much he ends up costing us. But it turns out you move early for Carlos Espi, who's a 21-year-old kid. Hey, a young prospect. You pay 25 and that's bad too. Also, damn, if in the end everything is bad, well, no, man. We have to mention that Diomande was here, that you could have had him for 20 million last year. Yes. Watch out. Real Madrid's signing policy has changed. I'll also tell you, it's not like we didn't do it last year. And this year we've said, oh, these things happen to us because we don't pay attention. No, it's because Yana and, well, I mean, Yana, and honestly, I don't know if that's how you say it, but I don't think so. Because what happens, just a moment, because what happens is, I'm saying they're trying to come into the room. What happens is that Mourinho wanted this guy, Carlos Espi, because he fits his playing system, what Mourinho wants, which I think is perfectly fair. Hey, fantastic, because in matches that get complicated and matches where there's no way to score against the opponent, there's just no way to break the deadlock. We've discussed this in recent videos. You need a guy who's good at heading, but even great headers who are short have trouble reaching some balls, even if they jump well. Take Gonzalo, for example. No, this guy is a giant up front, so he can bring down all the balls with his head. It's not just about scoring, but also about assisting his teammates. And I think he's a specialist at that. I've seen more highlights of him, not just the goals he scored, but also the chances he's had with Levante in the second half of last season. He gets to everything in the box, knows how to get open, and gets a lot of chances. He misses a lot. He needs to improve his shot. But the thing is, he gets those chances. I mean, he goes looking for them. He's a penalty box striker. Of course, because here, unlike Gonzalo used to drift a bit more to the wing. He was more of a link-up player. This guy is in the box, right there in the area. He looks for chances there. He's a penalty box striker, as Ancelotti once called it. Not him specifically, this type of striker. And that's why I think, especially knowing Mourinho, but let's set aside the fact that Mourinho is on the Real Madrid bench. If it were another striker, I'd applaud him just the same. Because sometimes matches need a specialist of this kind, right? Gile Gilusquiano said this in the Cup, how little it takes in modern football to make it to a big team. For Carlos Espi, half a good season was enough to sign for Real Madrid. I insist. If Madrid had signed Diomande last year for 20 million, people would still say it was wrong. They would have said, well, how come a kid comes here who had to be discovered by the people at Leganés and so on? And for playing kind of well for a little while during the season, he goes to Madrid, they spend 20 million, they would be saying the same thing to you. But those same people, look, I know Ustian Giusquiano, I think he's a guy who knows about soccer and all that. I know him personally. I'm surprised he says this. I don't know if he would say the same thing too if it were the other way around, but they're the ones who are saying now, or many are saying now, that it's a shame Madrid wasn't paying attention to a guy like Diomande last year. But anyway, we're already used to these kinds of comments about Real Madrid. One last thing I wanted to mention is there's always a little touch of Infantino in there, especially with everything that's going on, right? Between Morocco and Spain. I imagine you're keeping an eye on everything that's happening in Ceuta and so on. We won't get into that, but they still invited this guy. The only one without a diplomatic position who was at the enthronement of this one, well, I don't know. At the anniversary, indeed, of Mohammed VI, sucking up to him there in an obscene way, just like he does with everyone, with Trump, with the Emir of Qatar, now with this one, with Morocco. All right, with the King of Morocco on this one. And of course, he's a guy, really. I mean, damn. I mean, man, Infantino is like the villain from Star Wars. I mean, he's scared to death with Infantino in front of him. He's just a dark lord, absolutely. And besides, he shows it and he doesn't care. I mean, this thing of kissing up to power like this, you think, hey, at least tone it down a bit. But no, man. Well, he said the World Cup in Morocco will be the best one. We're already calling it the Morocco World Cup since they're hosting the final. He says it's because Morocco is the most beautiful country. Hey, well, that's great. Look, what Spain and Portugal should do is say, you keep your World Cup and let them organize it there in the country that thousands of people want to flee from every day. Come on, let them organize it. Let them organize it. It's unbelievable. 50,000 people have entered Ceuta in the last few hours. They say, no, at least 25,000 have already been sent back. Where are the rest? And besides, well, I'm not going to get into that, but it's just unbelievable. Spain, I insist, should also say goodbye because of the international policy that the Spanish government has followed in recent years, just waiting to see what happens. Waiting to see what happens, since they don't share information, right? They changed their Sahara policy without explaining it to Congress. Naturally, how can people not think badly about it? And then from that point on, or even before, everything that's happening now, and here comes Infantino's bootlicker to say this. Anyway, incredible. By the way, Spain and Portugal have already said, well, under UEFA's umbrella, that yes, if Infantino does what he wants to do and sells part of the FIFA World Cup, he can forget about organizing the World Cup. Come on, Spain and Portugal would withdraw, as you'd expect. I mean, as part of the boycott, we said UEFA would carry out against the World Cup. So look, it could be the best thing that could happen. Let Morocco take care of organizing the World Cup. Casablanca has a beautiful stadium. Let's see how they handle the other 724 matches, because, of course, for that World Cup, they're going to want to include 62 teams. Hope everything goes well. Like, subscribe, comment, and share if you enjoyed the video. It really helps. See you next time. Have a great weekend. Tomorrow is Madrid's match. Bye.